Welcome back to Mass Appeal. Some people don't let adversity get them down, and our next guest uses poetry as her way to cope when life takes ugly turns. Poet Laura Chagnon and her primary caregiver and soulmate Tom DAMOULAKIS are here to tell us about your journey and using poetry as therapy. So Laura, let's start by talking about your journey. How'd you get to where you are? Tell us your story.
First, when my accident happened when I was 26.
It happened in Boston.
Right, and it was I was assaulted, and I gratefully don't remember anything. So that was a good thing.
It's probably a therapeutic way that your body works. She has no memory of her accident, and also no malice towards the assailants.
Right.
It was the last day that she ever walked, but she says it's a gift because of the way things turned and the reason that she's been able to write poetry.
I think that's so fascinating. So we were talking about earlier how you're not mad, you don't have any anger. Now,
No,
I think a
no.
lot of people out there, when something like that happens, hold anger, and I think that can be a detriment. Now, why do you think it's so important to just let it all out?
Because in letting it out, you're enabling to let all the good feelings in.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yes.
So you were left after the incident as a quadriplegic, and a lot of people would, give up a little bit, but not you. You started using poetry as therapy. Now, how did you find out about poetry?
Well, I always dabbled in it as a child and in grade school and things like that. And then when I first came home, I really wanted to, I felt a real need to write poetry. So I read other poets to just get a feel for it. Because all I used to write was like rhyming poetry, and I wanted to write free verse.
And now you do it. And since the 90s, this is one of the most fascinating things I think about you, is you've written over 5,000 poems.
Yes.
How? What advice do you have out there for people who are looking at themselves and fancying themselves as poets? How do you do it? How do you keep writing so many poems?
It just comes from my heart.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good for you.
And Laura's in a situation where most of us are challenged as far as finding time to do our endeavors. Laura has an abundance of time, and she can write from morning till midnight without any problem. She just loves to do it. She has a passion for it. It was like a snowball. It just kept getting bigger with her, and her dream was always to become a published poet.
And now you do have a book out, which is amazing. What
Yes.
advice, though, I'm so intrigued, what advice would you give to people who are in a similar position as you, or anybody out there who's been through some issues? What advice would you give, and do you give to people?
Simple. If you're a writer, keep writing. And whatever you do, follow your heart. Whatever your passion is, let your passion rule you.
And it seems like it's a great outlet, the ability to write. You can get whatever you need out onto the page.
It is. It's amazing. And I do.
And you haven't let anybody slow you down either, which is
Never,
great.
never.
And she's a great example that, people might see someone in a wheelchair, or that they might speak differently or not speak at all. But she's an example that everybody does have a gift and deserves the respect out there in the public, and that you're capable, anyone is capable of doing great things.
Great words. Thank you so much for stopping by today. You're very inspiring.
Thank
I
you.
hope a lot of people out there can take some of this message with them.